Hello, Leo. How are you doing today? So, it's your turn, Leo. We have Lagu and Flursa, blood in the water. Oof. But the last time there was a blood in the water energy, it was water birth instead of like shark attack. So, oh, Flursa and towardness. Leo, you are flowing into the future. Interesting. It's also interesting that Briars is associated with towardness and first blood is here. So maybe it hasn't necessarily been easy, but you're flowing. Honestly, though, it feels like you just like slipped through the briar. It almost feels like you went incorporeal at some point, and you're just like moving through walls. Hello? Condor. Am I taking it? Yeah, I'll take it. Condor has been coming out a lot lately. The last time we saw Condor, it was it came out with Perth. It was a comic surge. Comic surge. It was a cosmic surge. And Lecha was in reverse. So it was like now your vessel can hold this incoming cosmic energy. Bottom of the deck is Earth Grap, which has also been coming out a lot lately. And I guess that's it. We have Elks behind Earth Grap. Okay, Leo. Interesting. Earth Grap is the new frequent flyer. Condor is still flying frequently, but I mean, it's fire, you're fire. Fire and earth. If anyone would be fire and earth, I would guess it's Leo. Because you feel the hearthiest. Or hearthiest of the fire signs. The most associated with like family and home, and like with Leo I see people gathered around a campfire. You know what I mean? Let's gather around the campfire. I'm not trying to get demonetized! But you know those CAMPFIRESONG song, Good Times? Somebody at work was like, why are you obsessed with SpongeBob? And I'm like, I'm not obsessed with SpongeBob. It's just that in those quiet moments, my brain just plays old SpongeBob. I'm ready! Are you ready, Leo? Who comes out for Leo? I'm going to use the Idrisil Norse Divination cards and either the Crow Tarot or the Runic Tarot. Honestly, it's looking like Runic Tarot for you. Forseti, Fairness and Judgment. This is interesting because Forseti, I think, was at the bottom of the deck for Scorpio. And Scorpio had like the 6th in a realm and the 5th in a realm. And I was like, what's missing? But no, it was the 4th. They had the 6th in the realm and a 4th in the realm. And I was like, what's missing is the 5. And then at the bottom of the deck was the 5th one of the 5th realm. Bottom of the deck is Fulla, Keeper of Secrets. I was going to say Fairness and Judgment means that whatever was being kept, Leo, it's like you passed the test, basically. So you are in a space of receiving this birthright that the earth holds. It's being returned to you. And then the bottom of the deck, Keeper of Secrets. I was like, okay, yes, for sure, most definitely. I think Fulla was also an attendant to Freya, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see. The 9th of the 3rd realm. Is that Alfheim? Oh, snap. Fulla, Keeper of Secrets. Fulla is a fairy of birds and of the lightness of nature. Her hair is described as a flowing river, and wherever she goes, nature seems to sprout and be revived. She is keeper of all wild small birds, which follow her around, sing to her, and chirp secrets in her ear. Her name means abundance or feminine fullness. and her name is thought to carry the meaning of femininity. Fulla is one of Frigg's handmaidens and is privy to her confidences. She is therefore the keeper of countless secrets and has boundless wisdom in her lightness. Her presence in the spread brings lightness and ease to the seeker's quest. She suggests relieving worry and introduces lightheartedness to the seeker. Fulla also indicates freedom, warmth, and feminine insight. That warmth being that like hearthy, homey goodness. Love it, love it, love it. Love it for you, Leo. Forseti, the fifth of the fifth realm. Fairness and judgment. So yeah, there's a lightness to this. Maybe that's the sigh of relief that you breathe. Like, whoof. Forseti, fairness and judgment. Forseti is the god of law, truth, and justice. He is an Aesir, and his official dwelling is in Glitnir, in Ausgarther, with halls of silver and pillars of gold. He is son to Baldur and Nanna. Forseti is placed in Midgarther as he is called on for the law and justice system of men. His name means he who sets precedents, and in Icelandic, the direct translation is president. Forseti is the god of good example and the god who settles disputes. The significance of the card corresponds with that. It can mean a settlement for the seeker or can indicate the need for the seeker to settle a dispute and be fair. It calls on the seeker to be honest and set a good example in a given dispute. This could mean for the seeker to take a close look at their own part and help the seeker to settle in fairness and peace. The cards around to determine how to approach the matter. For example, if Forseti is accompanied by either of his parents, Baldur and Nanna, it indicates the presence of justice and truth in the matter at hand. The presence of any Aesir also affords favorability. If Loki, any of Loki's children, or anyone from the underworld of Hell is present, it means opposition and even obstruction to the question at hand. Keep in mind that the source of obstruction or opposition can come from outside forces or, equally likely, from within the seeker. The card calls for the seeker to look for responsibility from within as well as from outside forces. So, I'm pretty sure this is Alfheim. Alfheim, the world of light elves. So it was like if Loki's kids, or anyone from Hell is present, then it could be like blah, 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 blah. Well, you got literally the opposite. So, she's really bringing the lightness, girl. Congratulations, Leo, I guess. Maybe it's for you to be an example. In what way? I do not know. I think this judgment, though, is also interesting, Leo. We flock to light like moths to a flame, and we love warmth in a world that can be so cold. So you might experience or like healthy boundaries. You might be in a position where you need to set some healthy boundaries and enforce those boundaries. I think it feels like the fairness is going to evolve, or it feels like fairness is going to mean something more than I, in this moment, at the very least, think that it means. Because it's almost like, depending on the position that you're in, or depending on what you're presiding over, fairness might be like complicated or not necessarily straightforward. Runic Tarot, what say you? How do you contribute to this conversation? I mean, I feel like, where do you go from here? You know what I mean? Runic Tarot is silent. Should I go for Crow Tarot? Bottom of the deck is the Knight of Cups, Two of Swords, and the Six of Cups. Two of Wands is the card that came out. This is Raid, Rod, Journey, and I know that's Ash flipped, but let me see. I don't know if that is. And Ansu's. Girl, what's Ansu's? For some reason, I want to know the traditional meaning of this rune. This is also, Ash is associated with Loki, the Ash rune. Ask, or governs our mental capacities to name all things. The Ansu's rune meaning, this is from like runesecrets.com. It's order, breath, gods, meaning, inspiration, communication. Find your ears before you search for words. Ansus are Ansus, literally Woden, esoteric, breath, or ancestral sovereign god. Key concepts are order, gods, Odin, transmission of intelligence, communication, reason, inspiration, language, breath, sound, origins of language, the voice of the universe, spell, song, casting, chanting, ancestors, passing of the breath along the ancestral line, evolution of gods, speech, poetry, discussion of runes, memetics, semiotics, etymology, linguistics. Girl, they got psi, energy, mundane, divinations, governs, notes. I'm like, okay. So it's the Odin rune, sure. And it's a whole bunch of other stuff. But it's backwards. It's flipped. Before, when I was shuffling the Norse divination cards, Idrisil Norse divination cards, I saw Loki in reverse. I turned them up right and I put them back in the deck. But because this Ask personal Idrisil is mirrored, it makes me think of that Loki in reverse. And so it's almost like what Loki's life would have been, what Loki's journey would have been if he didn't have to choose between his giant heritage and his Aesir upbringing. Knight of Swords, Knight of Cups, sorry, Two of Swords, Six of Cups. With Tyr and Ys. This is such a what could have been energy. On one hand, it's a what could have been energy. But it almost feels like this is like Loki casting some kind of spell to, I want to say plane walk for some reason. I want to call him a planeswalker. I don't know why. But it's like it's Loki casting a spell to see what the Loki of that dimension where he didn't have to choose, or of that parallel world or whatever, where he didn't have to choose between these two sides of him, to see what that Loki's life is like. And it's almost like Loki could have been instrumental in, or Loki could have been one of the ones. It's like in a world where the gods and the giants, the Aesir and the giants more specifically, I guess, because I don't think the Vanir was out there necessarily slaying people. But it's like in a world where peace was brought instead of war. Loki was instrumental in like helping to establish that peace. It's almost like if Odin gave one of the Vanir, or one of the Aesir, if Odin gave one of his children to the giants, and the giants gave Loki to Odin, and they were both raised with love. then it's like that could have been enough for them to like get over their bloody history, question mark. I feel like this just got weird, Leo. And so maybe you're in a space of contemplating who you could have been if certain events weren't a thing in your life. And before I started this, Soul came to my mind. Before I recorded any of these, Soul and Mani came to my mind, the sun and the moon, and how they were cursed to be the things that they were named after. Soul was a girl named after the sun because of her beauty. Mani was a boy named after the moon because of his beauty. And then Odin or whoever was like, oh, how blasphemous that you call these human children or what, whoever children they were, after the sun and the moon, so I will force them to be the sun and the moon. And then they get chased by the wolves, right? Skull and Hati maybe. But it was that question of like, is Leo living out who everyone expects Leo to be? Or is Leo who Leo truly is? And I don't think there's always necessarily something wrong in expectation, because I think sometimes people outside of us can see something within us that we may not necessarily see. Like maybe we don't know how good we are at flipping pancakes because, we only make pancakes every now and then or whatever. But everyone else who has your pancakes, they're like, oh my gosh, you like make the perfect pancake every single time. And I think it's because your flip is so immaculate. And then because of that, you can be like, oh my gosh, like, wow, maybe I am really good at flipping pancakes. And maybe that takes you down a whole path, journey, road. I don't know. I don't know, Leo. Sometimes they help us see things within us that we don't see within ourselves. And then we get to explore those things if we so choose. So it can be helpful sometimes. It's not always to our detriment. Maybe, Leo, there's a lot of like, maybe you're in this space of making choices and decisions and stuff. Maybe you find yourself in a new, I want to say scenario for some reason. You find yourself in a new environment, in a new situation. And maybe you're like, okay, well, like let's say that let's use the example that like you're not born from money. And so you don't necessarily know like proper etiquette and stuff like that, right? But you are invited to some super fancy restaurant. And so you go in there and you're like, okay, like this is way outside of my comfort zone. So then it's like, if this was my norm, how would I do this? How would I do that? You start to overthink literally every single thing that you do. And I feel like that's this Loki, like, well, if I wasn't whatever, then like, then what would my life be like? But no one is asking you, and however this is applying, because I don't want to say in real life, no one is asking you, because somebody might. But however this is applying, it feels like you don't have to cast yourself as someone who is anyone but you where you are. You bring the fullness and totality of you to this. And you're not expected to be any different. You're not expected to be any better. You're not expected to be any worse. And so it's like, it's not to be this like, what would the future version of me, what would my higher self, what would the me who already made it do? Because all of that you will become in time. But again, it's like none of that is being asked for now. This condo finds you as you are. And maybe all of that is the doubt that can chip away at this ether fire that you have. Condel and Candle, Hald and Baldur. For Seti is the son of Baldur. So even when the light went, fairness and judgment remained. But it was grief and a whole lot of other things that escalated the situation. Or situations. Um, I wonder if Baldur had any, or if Hod had any kids. Hod is, I think it's left. No, I think it's right. Is Hod right leg submission on the Kabbalah Tree of Life? Hod Tree of Life. It's the eighth Sephira of the Kabbalistic Tree of Life. It sits below Gevurah and across from Netzach in the tree. Yesod is to the southeast of Hod. Sot is the left leg. I don't know. Who are you, though? What are you associated with? Likened to the 2 feet, left and right. The feet not only bring a person to their place of intention, integrity here at the base of the pillar is foundational to all that stands above. It connects with prayer. Prayer is seen as a form of submission. Hod is explained as an analogy that instead of conquering an obstacle in one's way, which is the idea of Netzach, subduing oneself to that obstacle is related to the quality of Hod. So again, it's that back to the briars of the future. How you somehow go intangible and like pass right through it rather than like that conquering, trying to break through it, trying to do other stuff. I don't know if it's like by submitting to it, you allow yourself to just flow right through it. Is that going to be your title? By submitting to it, you flow through it? Maybe. And because of that, I like this Two of Swords. This Two of Swords has been the source of some flack on the channel lately. Because the Two of Swords has been holding this energy of, like, there's this berserker who usually connects to their animal totem in a way that gives them power and helps them rampage on the battlefield. But the animal spirit, the animal totem that they usually connect to isn't helping them do that anymore. And so at first this was an energy of like going against that animal and like trying to do it anyway. But the animal doesn't do it for a reason. Something's changed. It's not to go berserk anymore. And because of that, again, that's why I like the Six of Cups here, because it is about family. It's about that softness. The Six of Cups came out with the Knight of Wands, which was very like, no matter, it's like because the Knight of Wands is connected, or because the Six of Cups connects someone in such, I want to say like an emotionally honest way, but it's a little bit more complex than just emotional honesty. But it's like, because that is the heart of the Knight of Wands, there is nothing that that knight will do that will compromise that heart. So you don't have to worry about the Knight of Wands doing something that it shouldn't. And so there's a certain amount of caution that you don't necessarily have to keep in mind, right? It's like we shouldn't have to tell people not to, it's like we shouldn't have to tell people to be decent people. You know what I mean? Like we should all just be good people. But when someone is a good person, I know like they say that the road to hell is paved with good intentions, but this is more than just good intentions. You know what I mean? So it's like, again, no matter what that person did, it's like they're always in alignment with something higher. So you can, it's almost like spirit is obligated to assist that person or to work for that person. It's like there's no reason to not in this fairness. Fairness and judgment is right here. It's very fair. And because it's very fair, the judgment is always in their favor with the Master of Secrets, Keeper of Secrets, Fulla. Girl, you can do stuff that People's like, what? I didn't even know you could do that. And it's like, yeah, I guess this is just what happens when you're really good at flipping pancakes, apparently. And maybe it has nothing to do with the pancakes. It's just you being you. In your truth, in your emotional honesty, in your full genuinity. And that's why it's returned to you. That's why Earth loosens its grip on you. And it allows you that freedom to just pass right through the briar. What's interesting, though, is because you are carrying so much fire, but that's like FEORH, ether fire, not like a FIRE, physical fire. So you're not going to burn the forest down. Because the forest is teeming with ether fire, it's teeming with life. It's like you don't have to worry about being perfect, Leo, because you're perfect as you are. You as you are. Right? So, there you go. Where does this go? I don't know. I would ask for something. I'll get one final rune. Can I get one final rune for Leo? Nobody else got a final rune, but for you it feels permissible. Final rune for Leo. I'm not going to stop until you give me one, so we'll let it stew and simmer. I should count the shuffles. There we go. Oh, you get two. Feo, abundance, and who was the other one? Where's the other one? Where's the other one? There it is. Stankness. Again, you passed the test. The presence of Forsetti with full at the bottom of the deck. The whole deck is in reverse. Os, Godmouth. You passed the test. Now, and it's because your heart is pure and your soul is good or whatever, anything that you speak will come into being. Very throaty. I mean, it's throaty because of the throat chakra. All right, well, congratulations, Leo. I mean, we already knew you passed the test because of these two. There's no reason to doubt. But just because, it's like, there's no reason to doubt, yes. But it's like, doubt, I almost want to say it's like it keeps you humble. But it's more like, it's not a bad thing to check in with yourself. And that's what Forsetti said, right? It's either external or internal. So it's not a bad thing to check with yourself and to check your own motivations and reasoning behind doing something. It's not a bad thing to ask yourself if you're doing the right thing or should you, whatever. You shouldn't be so consumed by that you don't make a choice and decision. That's where it can be a little like problematic for the individual. But that's not the kind of doubt that is going to diminish your cosmic ether fire. That's just, it's like, it's good to know that Leo is considerate. It's good to know that Leo cares and isn't just like that shadow side of the Knight of Wands, whatever. Because you are a warmth. And warmth is important for Earth. It's one of the seasons where so many things grow the most. A lot of things prefer it. Not too hot, not too cold, very mesophilic, very in the middle, very in that sweet spot. And that, again, that's most of the Earth. So there's something that's very, like, not extreme about this energy, too, about your energy. So with that, Leo, I hope you have a good whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. With Stankness and Feo, whatever success you find, it feels like you don't have to worry so much about keeping it. You don't have to get Ebenezer Scrooge miserly. You don't have to turn into a whole Four of Pentacles because you don't want to lose whatever. That's not your energy anymore. So I guess don't be afraid to be generous. I don't know if generous is necessarily... it's like, yes, don't be afraid to be generous, but also, who is this? You got a lot of, oh, no, you're only missing Earth. Two of Rods, Knight of Cups, Two of Cups, Two of Swords. There is no Earth here, but Earth grab. Earth is returning the gift. So this would be like an Ace of Pentacles in that way. This would be like a Four of... It can tend to a Four of Pentacles, but you don't need it to. But the Four of Pentacles is also the protector. It's also a conserver. It's like financial stability. It can be also like financial stability. Four of Earth. It's like solid. So, but it's again, it's like because you're solid, you don't have to border on like hoarding. It'll actually benefit you. It's like you can always flip another pancake. You know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, I hope you have a good whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. Until next time, Leo, keep shining. I hope you can get used to your shine. And I hope you learn to love your shine. Because Leos are like big, warm... It's like a big, warm kitty, but it's made out of fire. But it doesn't burn you. It might send you a little bit in its excitement. But it's not going to burn you. And it's because, again, it feels like there's such a almost incorporealness to your energy. Because it's like, well, how do you hug a fire? It literally feels like a ball of fire in the shape of a kitten. And the flames are looking just like a campfire. Were you the CAMPFIRES? Yeah, you were the CAMPFIRES song. But it's like, how am I holding this fire? Like, fire doesn't have, like a physical form. You know what I mean? Yeah, something about you was like weirdly incorporeal. So maybe you're all up in that energy body. And because you're all up in your energetic, ethereal, astral body, you're interacting with the world on a like an energetic, ethereal, astral level. And maybe that's why you don't have to be so physically worried about like maintaining things. And again, your gift, your earth gift is returned. God mouth is on your side. You passed the test. You're looking gorgeous, Leo. Looking gorgeous. Yeah. See you next time. Bye.